Good evening. I'm going to open the meeting for, what's the date today? August 17th, 2021. I had to do that because I did it last time. And it's 5:30, and if you'll all follow along, Ms. Gill is going to do the pledge for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Thank you.
Here we go.
All right, if we can get an adoption for the agenda for August 17th.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda for August 17th, 2021 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And item number 2, first item of business is I'm going to open public hearing for our annual expenditure budget revision for fiscal year 2022. And Ms. Johnson?
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, superintendent. Thank you for holding this public hearing this evening to go over the revised FY22 expenditure budget. As you all are aware, our legislature took a little longer than normal this year in closing session, and so you anticipated seeing a revised budget come through, and in fact it did. So there are some formula increases that contributed to the change in our capacity in M&O. Those formula increases impacted the base support level, transportation, as well as our Group B funding. We also have an estimated carry forward that has increased a little bit from our adopted budget. That's just because we're getting closer to the end of our encumbrance period, therefore I'm getting a little bit firmer numbers on how much we'll be able to carry forward into the new year. And then our ADM is up from what I initially projected. So still holding pretty conservative there. I increased our ADM by about 70 in this revised budget. I think that we still may go up a little bit further on that, but we don't have any ADM reports from ADE yet, so it's still just estimates at this point in time. As far as capital goes, there is a little bit of an increase in carry forward there as well in the estimate, so you can see there's a little bit of increased capacity there as well. I do anticipate probably having to do another revision in December as well, just as we get a little firmer on our numbers and after my AFR is completed in October, and having those carry forward numbers updated.
Very good. Thank you. Anybody have questions for Aaron?
No.
Do we have anybody in the public that's signed to speak to this piece? Okay. Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. And item number 3 is the action item for the revised budget, if we can get a motion on that.
I'll make a motion that the governing board of the Wickenburg Unified School District number 9, having held a public hearing on August 17th, 2021, approve the annual expenditure budget revision number 1, fiscal year 2022 as submitted.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Aaron. Item number 4 is recognitions, proclamations. Is there anybody that wishes to recognize anything or anybody at this point in time?
I would like to recognize the school district for the start of the year. I think it's amazing. Our numbers have increased, which is great. And I don't know what our current number was. I think you said the first day of school was 1,200 and something. Anyway, and then I want to thank Erin Johnson for her good work with all of the numbers all of the time. I don't think anybody recognizes, maybe, I mean, I'm sure Dr. Remendini recognizes you quite a bit. I know it's a hard job, so thank you, Erin, for always knowing the numbers.
Thanks, Susan. Anybody else? I was going to do the school thing too, so
Okay.
I echo what Susan said. Thanks, Susan. Dr. Remendini.
And I echo what Ms. Webster said, and I want to add in our students who, just a recognition for our students who are back, excited for the school year, excited about their teachers, and already participating in activities and athletics. And one of the things the governing board knows is that I've requested that our cabinet members spend some time on each of our campuses each week with a challenge to spend 2 hours a week on a school campus. And while some of my motives were to make sure that our staff knew what cabinet did, it was also to reinvigorate the cabinet and have them see children, you know, to get out and remind us what we're doing. So that's been really fun for all of us to see students. And then I did want to just be just so thankful that we've increased enrollment and got students back on campus and back learning, and we've re-engaged with some students that didn't engage with us last year and continuing to work on that. So we're ready for a great school year.
Yes, we are. Thank you, Doctor. All right, so we come to item 5 is call to the public, and we actually have a couple folks that signed up to speak. And the first one is Joanne Pierce.
It's 2 minutes, so they can hear you if you speak there.
They can hear me?
I'd like to welcome you, and I just wanted to let you know, you probably read the declaration, but we can't respond and interact with you, but we are going to definitely listen to what you have to say. And you have 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's a bonus today.
I'm very happy for those 30 seconds.
And our timer is right there, and she's going to toss something at me when it's time.
Yes.
So you go right ahead when you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And my name is
I unmuted it already.
It's on.
my name is Joanne Pierce, and I live in Wickenburg Ranch. And as such, we have many of us out there. There's a group of 5 of us right now here with you tonight, and we're all here kind of as a collective group individually, if that makes any sense. I personally am a precinct committeeman for the WIC 209 precinct, as are the others, and I'm the captain. And I'm not loud enough? I'll get louder. Okay. We have questions, and I now realize that I'll basically readdress everything that we've got here that I put on my sheet. And what I was asking for is if you would please address the critical race theory and transgenderisms being taught in our school district. And I was hoping I would get either a yes or a no out of that at least, but if you can't respond, then I understand. But I really do need to know if those topics are being taught in our school districts. Other words that I know that they go by is oppression matrix, covert white supremacy, black communism, or spirit murder. Anything, any training. Yeah, I was floored when I read this 20-some-odd page article. And anything that's involving race. And so what I'm hoping to hear from you all is that our school district in Wickenburg does not teach any of these classes, or our teachers do not impose any of the racial theories that are based on current items across the nation. There's an entire train of thought with this that many schools have picked up, and I'm here as an individual and as a precinct captain to say, please, Wickenburg School District, do not pick up these trainings.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you.
And you don't have deaf ears sitting here, just so you know that. But what I would entertain for you to do is to contact the district office, and they can speak better to you on this, okay?
Okay.
Okay, next we have Dan Hamilton.
Good evening.
Good evening. And you heard the rules, right?
I did.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. I too rise as an individual to share my concern about this whole critical race theory and also the social emotional learning in our classrooms. Home is where our children should hear and learn these things. Not in our schools. Our schools should not be properties of propaganda. And that whole thing, I can't even believe it's gotten this far. It's so hideous and divisive. And I really, really hope that it'll be blocked. Now, Governor Ducey did stop the learning. We know that people will try to get around it in other ways or call it something else. But I'm absolutely pleading with all of you to stop anything that would be the least bit related to this horrible, disastrous theory, so-called theory. Thank you.
Thank you. No other sheets, Lynn?
No other sheets.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we are going to move along to our consent agenda. Is there any board member that needs anything pulled before we take action on that long list? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items for August 17th, 2021 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
It's never my job to do that.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, so now we have
Sorry about that.
is my time up already?
You're done, Joey.
All right, now we are on item 7A, action item, and this is a request for approval of the financial reports presented by Ms. Erin Johnson. Again.
Good evening again. The financial summary looks a little bit different this time. You guys don't have what I like to kind of the speedometers dashboard, and that is because our forecast by model that we use to pull some of this data isn't ready yet for the new year. So had to kind of do it the old-fashioned way, but tried to keep it in the same format that you're used to seeing. So you can see in here that we spent a little bit more to date over last year, but that's you guys are gonna start seeing that trend up again this year because we're in person, and so yay. So we're gonna start. Yes, it's a good reason to be spending money and have that up. So I wouldn't say that our average is any higher than in pre-COVID years, but obviously we're going to be higher than what we were at this time last year in M&O. And then in capital, we're actually a little bit less than what we were last year, but last year we were also, buying some hydration stations and just doing some different things, which we did use some COVID money for, but also use some of our own money to make various little improvements here and there. So I expect that capital budget to get spent down a little further this year, so we can get back to some scheduled planning and improvements that we had in the school district.
I have a question, and you may not know the answer to this, but given that the USDA approved the free lunches, free breakfast and lunches, does that affect our budgeting at all?
Well, it does. We still we get reimbursed for all of those meals though, but we still have to be very conscious of our food costs, our paper costs, our labor costs, all of that with Southwest Foods, but because they're still running it for us and they still have to get paid and order the food. But they try to do a really good job of budgeting that and making sure that we're within the limits that we had planned on. And we don't ever intend to make money in food service, but we want to at least break even.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything for Aaron? Okay. Who's up?
Do you want me to say?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial reports as submitted.
Second.
Yay. Yay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Ms. Johnson is upset that she didn't get to make her usual statement.
I know. She usually starts with it.
I know, I apologize. Did you want me to
I would
still
hope
state
at
it?
this
Yes.
point, I would hope at this point in the year, balances would be positive.
Yes. We're only into the second, this is only reflecting the first month of the fiscal year. No,
I think it would be negative.
our budget balances are positive. We are in compliance and there are no surprises to the best of my knowledge.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Aaron.
You're welcome.
All right, item 7B. This is a first reading for all of these policy advisories. So everybody can study those and ask any questions you have. I think you already did that. I know I did. Okay, item.
I do have questions.
There you go.
I was just waiting to see if somebody else did before I spoke up. The IHAMB.
Yes, sir.
The question I have is, these new rules, how do these new rules on, approvals and reviews and all that kind of stuff affect our currently approved curriculum?
It does not, although Ms. Hotchkiss is here, so I might ask her to step in just in case I get this wrong. She is the expert in this.
Okay.
This policy actually is on the following guidelines about how we give notification. Our most recent family life education was approved in line with this current policy, with the current changes. So we don't have to change any of that. We have board-approved curriculum, and we followed the current guidance on this. We did follow what we anticipated these changes to be when we had an opt-in process for the spring. So at this point, and Ms. Hotchkiss will work through it with her curriculum team just to be sure we're in compliance, but we don't anticipate any changes to curriculum, materials, or notification as we preliminary believe we're in compliance.
Okay, because, I mean, things like, the public participation and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff in the, coming up with the curriculum or, picking a curriculum, choosing one, if that was, I don't know if that was in the policy last time or not, and if that was if this new rules were going to make us go back and review that section. Okay.
It is my understanding at this time that we do not need to go back and do anything differently to
Okay.
reapprove our family life
So
curriculum.
our certification, the certification that we have and your notarized signatures and all that stuff is still good. We don't have to read that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you for asking that.
Any other questions or anything? No? All right, so item 7C is action item, governing board to discuss and may consider action to approve the Arizona School Board Association's proposed 2022 political agenda and direct the district's delegate to the ASBA Delegate Assembly to represent the board's determined position.
So I wanted to quickly and I don't know if we found out anything about, no, okay.
We haven't found out.
We haven't found out, okay. So I am the delegate that agreed to go. On that date, my kids have a football and cheer game here. If there is anyone that might be able to go in my place, I would appreciate it because my kids do have a game that day that I would like to be at. However, if that does not occur, then that's okay. I do know that we were checking to see if there was a virtual option for someone who did not want to go in person, but I don't think we have an answer to that yet. But I wanted to bring it up since we're talking about the delegate assembly, if there was anyone that might be able to go in my place.
Okay.
It's Saturday, September 11th at Camelback, Scottsdale.
It's Sailor's second birthday.
Well, the reason I wasn't allowing myself to be put in that position was because I thought I had something that would be scheduled at that time. It looks like it may not be. And I'll know as we get closer. But
Okay. So can we list Ron as the alternate, and if he's available, he can go in
who
my
is
place?
the alternate?
We don't have
We didn't
one.
have one.
Oh, we didn't have an alternate.
No.
No.
So you can be our alternate, is that okay?
Well, I'm just saying it. I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
let
if
you know
you're
I
able
can.
to, that'd be great. And if not, I'll go and miss the game, but,
I'll email to see if there's a virtual.
okay.
You said there is?
I will check.
Oh, okay. As far as you know, this time is live. And based upon the way their whole package is put together here, it looks like it will be a lot shorter session than it has been in the
Didn't know what I
past.
ever sat through. I sat through some humdingers.
Huh?
I sat through some real long ones. This one looks like it's going to be a.
Yeah, I mean, the one that I went to in person, I mean, they went out and got food and brought in because, it went so much longer than they
Right.
thought it was going to.
The one I went to, they had planned food already. We
Well,
had,
yeah, well, we had food. We did have food already, but
they
then they had to go get more because we were that much longer.
Oh, wow.
That's what the thing, it was a marathon. But this one looks like they've, by doing it this way, then it'll be much shorter.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Sandy.
In reading this, when I got down to the very last thing, and when it said oppose any measure that would result in fewer qualified voters from being easily able to vote or register to vote, I was a little,
Which one are you
what
in?
does that have to do with?
it's the last one before
Yeah.
the marked out COVID stuff at the bottom.
Yeah,
Oh,
the very end.
It's on page 4. At the very end.
Yes,
Part
fine.
of-
Oh, I'm sorry, it's the very top of page 5.
Require public accountability for taxpayer dollars spent on education. It's part of that one.
But I don't know what quite they're getting at. I just thought that was interesting.
was any measure of
I mean, personally, I don't think that's part of the school board's
being easily able to vote?
role.
No, and that's how I felt.
Yeah, I think they're getting at if there was something on the agenda that would stop.
I mean, if they're talking
That's
about
why I
this,
looked at it.
but in general, that's
Yeah.
not their place.
No, that's not our role. No.
No, but that was my comment, because I didn't think it belonged.
No. Anybody else?
I just wondered if that was there because of possible COVID measures that may have to be in place that they would not be able to have the easily able to vote type thing. That's just an assumption I'm making there from what I'm reading.
No,
Possible.
I did really like the rethink and redefine the role and purpose of standardized testing and
Yes.
develop meaningful assessments.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with that
Definitely.
one wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, yeah, I did have a question on that last one, which is, to me, was nothing that had to do with school boards.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Any other discussion on that, or do we go roll into a motion?
Well, I mean,
So I didn't have any problem with what I read there. I mean, except for that piece.
Yeah.
But I took it the other way that Susan was talking about, so.
that what?
Piece that Sandy talked about, the voters that we were just
Oh.
discussing.
But I don't know what the voters has to do with
Right.
that point in the agenda, so I'm sure there'll be discussion about it at the assembly.
Ron, did you have questions?
No, it's just that particular statement, I just don't think belongs in ASBA's,
Purview?
yeah. That is, you know, what does that have to do with schools?
Yeah, I
It's
don't,
better in schools.
tax dollars spent, voting, I don't get how the two.
They're not talking about the voting assembly that's there at the meeting, are they?
No, I would say not.
I don't think so.
That's not what I
think,
got out of
but I
it.
don't
Yeah.
know.
That's not what I got out of it.
Okay.
Is it possible to approve this minus that?
Or is this just
Oh.
go, I don't know.
This is approving, directing.
Do we have to report back to them or what?
I think it's just approving
just-
whoever goes to stay in the position upon the board. So if we all disagree with that particular point, then whoever goes can, you know, potentially speak to that if it ends up on the final.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what we do then? We don't have to, we don't have to go to, like, before ASBA and go, here's our report.
No, this is just directing whoever
Okay.
goes to
All right.
put the wood paddle, or wait, they don't use paddles anymore. Technology now.
Use the button,
Yeah.
Okay.
say no to that piece.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody
That's
good?
just my opinion.
Well, no, that's a
I
valid.
think we all agree
I'm
on
glad you
that.
brought it
Yeah.
up because when I was going through this stuff at that time, I was cross-eyed and I just, you know.
Yeah. I know what you
Did
mean.
not.
There's a lot to read.
It's kind of in an interesting spot in this document too, in that it kind of bled over to that other page that's all
was all
redded
crossed
out, and this one's read as
Yeah.
a change, so
Right.
it was kind of
Yeah.
challenging to see it.
That was my only,
Yeah.
Okay.
There was the other one that says give all districts the authority to provide affordable housing options to teachers.
That, I can speak just briefly to that. There is some consideration for, right now, it's very difficult for a school district to provide teacherages.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of things. So there are some companies and some individuals that are kind of banding together that want to expand that opportunity. I attended a very good session at the ASA summer conference and got some contact to be sure that we had, if at all possible, that they take down the barriers for the legalities of that. So I think ASBA is on board for recognizing that there may be some opportunities in places that typically it's, in Arizona, it's on Native American reservations, but expanding that out. So that's where that came from, probably from ASA, just.
we actually had one in Morristown, the person that we hired as the head, at that time it was called the head teacher. And there was a house there on campus that we supplied to the person who had that position.
Yeah, and the new wave of that conversation is not just for the head teacher or the caretaker, but multiple units or, you know, and there's some other governmental agencies that have stuck their toes in this water and trying to navigate how we could do it at school, for schools.
Right.
Okay.
Good discussion. Any other discussion? Are we ready for the motion then?
All right. Make a motion to approve the Arizona School Board Associations, that's ASBA, proposed 2022 political agenda and direct our district's delegate to the ASBA Delegate Assembly to represent the board's determined position.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. All right, so item 8 is items for future agendas. Anybody have anything you want to speak to on that? Okay, now we've got our announcements in our calendar. Thank you again, Lynn. Appreciate that.
Just the sports schedules.
Huh?
I said, just,
Oh, yeah.
she's gonna send those to us.
All right, item number 9.
I moved to adjourn.
What? Couldn't hear that.
She's not excited to do
I
it.
said I moved to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
It's the only motion I got.
That motion carries.
How much excitement.
We are adjourned at 6 p.m.
That's because there was a heck of a lot of reading to do, and it was